A win for President Trump or for former Vice President Biden requires securing 270 of the 538 electoral votes that are at stake. There's probably 11 states you need to watch. Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, and Wisconsin. The president, as you remember, flipped Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan in 2016. If he does it again, it happens again. Every poll says that President Trump does a better job with the economy than Joe Biden. But every poll says that Joe Biden will respond better to coronavirus than Trump. I would give anything for somebody to give me a cohesive, coherent answer, certainly not one that Joe Biden has ever given, that solves that mystery. A worldwide pandemic that is somehow being blamed on President Trump. You know, I was telling somebody yesterday, I guess I understand the Democrats using coronavirus as a political talking point, but it ought to be way, way deeper than this. It's not, this isn't politics. This is the health of the world's population. And to sit around and say that Joe Biden, remember, Joe Biden's the guy who said he'd cure cancer. As somebody who's lost loved ones to cancer, that was a punch in the gut to make such a stupid, empty, really, really dastardly claim. Joe Biden's not going to cure cancer and he's not going to end the virus. But if people think somehow he's got some trick up his sleeve that he hasn't shared with the American people, I don't know. Maybe he'll win. I don't know. If the economy really matters, and we saw that gigantic GDP growth that was released the other day, it's a gigantic bit of news. There's a lot of big news, too. I don't want to bury the lead. There's so many. The endorsement of a major Pennsylvania newspaper of Donald Trump is huge. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette endorsed President Trump Saturday. It's the first time the newspaper has backed a Republican candidate since 1972. I mean, while the editorial board said it preferred the first-class temperament and demeanor of former world leaders like Churchill, Reagan, and Obama, it endorsed Donald Trump on the basis of the pre-COVID-19 economy, his Supreme Court nominees, and his work in the energy industry, a key sector in the Western Pennsylvania region. The editorial board wrote, under Mr. Trump, the United States achieved energy independence for the first time in the lifetimes of most of us. They don't like the president's manners. They don't like his tweets. They don't like his braggadocious nature. But they endorsed him. The paper criticized Joe Biden, a Pennsylvania native, for he's going to be campaigning today there with Lady Gaga. Joe Biden and Lady Gaga. President Trump, I guess, pretty much partners with people like Lee Greenwood. That's sort of the difference right now in America. A Lady Gaga America or a patriotic Lee Greenwood America. That's on the ballot. The newspaper criticized Biden for his stance on ending fracking and other cuckoo California dreams. The newspaper acknowledged that at age 77, Biden is too old for the job and fragile, and we know he is. They acknowledged that Trump at 74 is also old, but seemingly robust. You think? What did he have yesterday? 5 stops? I went to bed. I woke up and went to bed watching Trump rallies in the background on TV. He was in Miami-Dade, what was it last night, at 12:30 in the morning? He's at it again now in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He's got 5 stops today. And Joe Biden barely ventures out of his home in Wilmington, Delaware. He's stepping it up today. He's going to be in Pennsylvania, I think, a couple of stops there. President's going to be all over the country. Here's what Jake Tapper even admitted on CNN. CNN that hates the president with the heat of 1,000 suns, morning, noon, and night. All CNN is anti-Trump all the time. Even Jake Tapper acknowledges that Americans favor President Trump when it comes to the economy, jobs, paychecks, something that is very important to millions of us.
A new CNN poll out this week shows that the American people still slightly favor President Trump over Joe Biden when it comes to the economy. New numbers on Friday showed that the economy has already recovered 2/3 of the GDP lost due to the pandemic. I understand the economy has a long way to go, but does it make you nervous at all, especially coming from the Midwest, that Joe Biden has not been able to convince the American people that he is better than Trump on the economy?
It ought to make Democrats nervous. It ought to make the media nervous. And I believe they are nervous. And I truly believe in my heart the reason they are boldly predicting a landslide for Joe Biden tomorrow is because they've got to do everything they can to discourage people from showing up tomorrow. It's called suppression. The president has talked about it many, many times. And he is on the campaign trail like nothing I've ever seen. Honest to goodness, I'm exhausted watching him on television. The man just got 74 years old. He was just in the hospital a few weeks ago for coronavirus. Incidentally, that too seems to me to be a metaphor for learning to live with the virus rather than staying home. If heaven forbid Joe Biden, if the roles were reversed and it was President Joe Biden ending his 4th year in office, and heaven forbid he wound up in the hospital with coronavirus, do you think a couple of weeks later he'd be doing what Donald Trump is doing today? There is a dramatic difference between these two worldviews.